I, quite honestly, don't know how to start this video. This is a topic that has been in my head for quite a while now, and it's an issue that truly needs to be discussed. Whilst doing the research for this video, I came to a crucial realization. More on that later. This video isn't going to be a super deep analysis of one singular issue, but rather I want to help paint a bigger picture here. Either way, you saw the title of this video, so let's talk about it. The trans bathroom issue. But first, what does it mean to be trans? A transgender person is someone who has a gender identity that doesn't align with their biological sex. This includes trans women, trans men, and non-binary people. It's important to remember that gender identity and biological sex are separate categories, and that most biologists, psychologists, sociologists, etc. treat them as so. Now that we've established what it means to be trans, let's talk about the bathroom issue itself. Most people on Earth aren't trans, but rather cis, meaning their gender identity does align with their biological sex. Now, in the society we live in, most public restrooms are segregated by sex. For cis people, this isn't really a problem, for obvious reasons. However, for trans people, it is for obvious reasons. It would be nice if trans people could use the restrooms that aligned with their gender identities due to things like gender dysphoria, and that it will help affirm their identities. But as you probably guessed by now, there's often opposition to this. Although it only ever really comes with one argument, something along the lines of, men will then dress up as women and go into the female bathrooms and harass women. First off, there isn't really any evidence to suggest that letting trans people use restrooms that align their gender identities increases sexual assault rates. In fact, there's actually evidence to suggest that barring trans people from using the restroom that aligns with their gender identities causes more harm. I've linked my sources in the description of this video. Go check them out for more details. But that's besides the point, because same-sex sexual assault exists. What are you going to do about that? Are we all just going to be irrationally fearful of using the restroom now because someone is going to, Also, can't men just already walk into women's restrooms? Do you really think a sign will stop perverted men from committing such disgusting acts? Oh yeah, and trans women aren't men dressed up as women. Also, how exactly would we enforce this? Have a security guard check what genitalia you have before you're allowed to use the restroom? Do you realize how invasive that would be? Oh yeah, and did we seriously forget that some trans people have had surgery? Essentially, all of this is simply an act of hiding transphobia behind protecting women. Also, isn't it weird that trans men are almost never brought up with regard to this topic? This feels like some sort of recycled misogyny. Let trans people use the restrooms that align with their gender identities. We should probably also add in some gender-neutral bathrooms, or unisex, whatever people want to call them. That would be pretty helpful for non-binary people. Hey, you know what? Why don't we just make all bathrooms gender-neutral? Wouldn't that solve everything? Wait. I've heard that statement many times before, and quite honestly, I've also believed in the idea. On the surface, it sounds like a great idea. However, here's where I'm going to reveal that crucial realization I stumbled upon. The main issue here isn't actually the restrooms. It's not accepting trans people for who they are. When you deny a trans woman the right to use the women's restroom, you deny the fact she's a woman. The same thing can be said for trans men with men's restrooms. Just setting up a gender-neutral restroom isn't going to do anything. In fact, it might make things worse. In the movie Anything's Possible, the main character, Kyla, who is a trans girl, is banned from using the female locker room and forced into the gender-neutral locker room. Yes, I know that locker rooms and the restrooms aren't the same thing, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to say here. By the way, go watch Anything's Possible. It's a great movie. I rate it a 10 out of 10. Anyways, now do you see the issue with saying all we need to do is set up gender-neutral bathrooms? Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't set up gender-neutral bathrooms. We definitely should. Those will be really helpful for non-binary people. But putting restrooms to the side a bit, it's about time we see trans people for who they are. Trans women are women, trans men are men, etc. Honestly, we don't even need the trans adjective. Not that they aren't trans, but the fact that we place too much emphasis on their transgenderism is a problem. Why is it that when it comes to cis people, we don't question their gender at all, but when it comes to trans people, we go through this frenzy of pronouns, dead naming, genitalia, chromosomes, etc.? I don't care whether someone is transgender or cisgender. If they're a woman, leave it at that. If they're a man, leave it at that, etc., etc. This has been a persistent issue for a long time now that not many people seem to acknowledge the root cause of. In the society we live in, we often don't search for the root cause of our issues. We only ever really address the symptoms. In this case, the symptoms have to do with trans people not being able to use the restrooms that align with the genders, and the root cause is transphobia. This was the bigger picture I wanted to paint here. This is the bigger problem. It's about time we snuff away this candle of transphobia and replace it with one of acceptance. This isn't just about the trans bathroom issue. It's much more than that. So please, as I say it one last time, let's stop wasting our time zooming in on whether someone is a woman or a man or whatever, and just get in touch with the reality of the situation already. Life is too short to hate trans people. Period. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. Check out this other video I made. Join my Discord server. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram. If you'd like to help me translate this video's subtitles, go fill out the form in the description below. And yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Bye.